Oof.
Ouch, babe.
I guess Bill Belichick's not shy about talking about the Patriots anymore. That was him on Pat McAfee just a few minutes ago, ripping the Patriots, ripping Maye, saying he doesn't know what the plan. I'm sure he's got a plan. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure he's got one.
Bully.
If I was Bill Belichick, I wouldn't be crowing too much, because one thing I really thought about these last two games is it looked like last year. Those two games looked like the team last year. That's what you looked like. Bill, that's what your team was. And a lot of these guys are your guys who they re-signed, who they brought back, and who you couldn't get really that much more out of. I will say this. The defense looked better last year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The defense last year with Bill running it looked better, and with Mayo running it too, I guess. This year, the defense looks just as bad as the offense. Everything looks bad. I'm surprised he led with the offense and not the defensive shortcomings, because I thought he'd latch onto that as something that was actually functional last year instead of the offense, which was his pick, Mac Jones, his backup, Bailey Zappi, and all these other people who just couldn't do anything. Even Cam Newton, you want to throw him in there too. Like, he didn't handle that all that well. They didn't gain a lot of yards or score a lot of points for about 3 years before he got fired. But he is talking about the Patriots, at least.
So I'm torn on this because I have told you before, I love when Bill is honest and vindictive and a jackass, and that's what he's being there.
Yes.
He's being a bully, because I didn't hear any of this in week one. He was not saying a word in week one, and now they've lost 3 in a row. They've played 2 hideous games in a row on the road, sort of played embarrassing football on certain levels, and now he's, popping off from the chest, mocking his guy's plan. Well, Bill, your plans in the past have been pretty piss poor too. So let's not pretend you haven't had. I mean, the measuring stick for the worst plan in the history of the New England Patriots is Matt Patricia.
Yep.
We start from there. So we know that Drake Maye plan will not be worse than the Matt Patricia plan, Bill. So you're not going to get unseated as the worst plan in the history of the franchise. But I also love that that's honest Bill. That's how Bill would look at even if he didn't have the connection to the Patriots or Mayo or any of this, an axe to grind against Robert, he would look at this from afar and he would hear the word plan like we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised he didn't throw a C word in there, a collaboration or something.
C word?
Collaboration, that's C word.
That's C word.
You
can just say collaboration.
Because it's funny. I was just making a joke. I'm trying to have a little light humor.
All right.
Jeez.
Go on then, jeez.
But I'm surprised he didn't throw some of the collaboration or some other words, silos in there, because he hears these from afar. Don't tell him. He knows everything that's being said about him, about the new regime, and all of that. And I enjoy him taking shots from afar. I'm not going to lie. That's the Bill I love. It's not very professional, and I bet Gerard Mayo isn't in love with it, his mentor, who he begged to join his staff a few years ago, and then Robert said, hey, I'm glad you brought him in. He's your replacement eventually.
And I'm deciding right now while we're celebrating the World Series. How about a Super Bowl victory?
But it's also low-hanging
right here
fruit.
And there, yeah.
Right, it's low-hanging fruit right now. Like, are you going to still be analyzing if Drake Maye plays against the Jags in London and they win by 20? Are you still going to be on your high horse? So we can keep an eye on it and be entertained by it from afar. I'm just glad he's talking about the Patriots because we all want it.
Yeah, I wanted him to start doing it too. I would just, maybe caution. Hey, these are all things that can be very easily turned around back on you.
Wait, they can?
Absolutely,
all
they can. All the things he just said in that clip. Yes.
The plan?
Yeah.
No, the plan's not on him.
The plan. Well, the plan with the players, I think.
The offensive line stinks. Oh, all those issues have a ties.
Because what was his plan with all these same players? Not the same quarterback.
No, but he's referencing the plan with the quarterback.
Yeah.
And his plan with the quarterback was what?
To start him right away and then ruin him in year 2.
Exactly.
That's what he did.
I would take that right now, wouldn't you?
I would take the first year.
Entertain me in year 1, and then we'll figure out year 2 when we get there. If we start to try to break him, whatever. So I think that's where Bill is mocking the plan, because I'm surprised he didn't throw in some sort of we had Mac Jones as a rookie, a first-round pick, and we went to the playoffs, and I'm surprised he didn't have a throwaway line like that.
Yeah, certainly could have if he wanted to. When did you know the game was over yesterday?
As I mentioned earlier, when the defense couldn't stop them after the touchdown to start, because you got a gift.
Yep.
And I'm thinking the 2 red zone stops, it felt like you were getting absolutely curb stomped at halftime, but a few minutes later you're down 20-10, and it's like, okay, maybe they got a shot, because now you're in, I can run the ball, I can do my offense, which is very limited, but I'm not in, this huge multi-score deficit. And then immediately your boy, Purdy, who you think stinks, goes deep, hits a big play, and they're in the end. And then the way they scored, too, I didn't think they gave up as a team, but that Josh Uche touchdown allowed to Mason was
did he overshoot that, yeah.
What are we doing here? And
that was rough.
We will tie that into a quote that was shared on the Jones and Keefe show later. I think that may tie into that touchdown run. But that touchdown run, I said, Okay, it's over. Post-game show. Fitzy, what time we starting?
The first time I thought, okay, this is it. This is done. Was the fumble? Was when Stevenson fumbled on the second drive, because that was such a point of emphasis, and they had 10 freaking days. 10 days of fumble drills, 10 days of protect the ball, 10 days of whatever the hell they do to help somebody stop fumbling, and it happened almost immediately. Like, they had that one drive where they had picked up a couple of first downs and had to punt it away, field goal, first handoff on the second drive. And he coughs it up, and I just said that was the first time I said bleep this. Like, I'm probably going to be wrong here in my big prediction. Then you have a pick six after that. That seemed like a good time to sort of call it. And then you get all the way down the field. You finally make some progress. You're picking up first downs. You're moving the ball. You go 50 yards on 11 plays. Fourth down, and you run it right up the middle there with Ramondre Stevenson.
Can we get into
I wanted to kick a field goal there. You take points. You're not a team that can afford to pass on points ever.
In one sense, I give this team credit because they started practicing the draw the defense off sides plays earlier and more often than I've ever seen a team do it in training camp. And I'm being serious.
And what a great job they did. Huh?
I've been to 20 whatever training camps. I don't even remember seeing it barely at all. Never mind as early and often as they started working on it. It felt like the offense wasn't even installed yet, and they were like, we need to work on drawing the defense off sides plays. And they would do it, and they've used it a ton, and I hate it.
They got one free play last week, right?
Because you know who should get free plays, in my opinion? Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady's like, you know who shouldn't?
Rodgers gets them all the time. We're used to.
Well, now he's fighting with his coach about it.
Now he's yelling at him,
But you know who shouldn't? A team like this. A team that fancies themselves running game and defense. A team that fancies themselves, we're going to put Caden Wallace as an extra tight end. We're going to line up, and we're just going to. I don't want you tricking a team to jump off sides. That's not how you win. You told me you were going to be a running football team. That team, with its 225-pound running back, should line up and run the ball down your throat. You also, by the way, have a huge quarterback.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do QB sneaks and things of that nature. And your first attempt at everything is to let's do the snap thing. I think that is the lamest thing in all of sports, trying to steal that, because it says something about you. You don't think you can get the yard.
Right.
If you thought you could get the damn yard, you'd get the yard.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the Eagles. For their stretch there with the tush push, it was unstoppable.
Yeah.
They almost wanted 4th and 1 because they're like, ooh, we get to do this again. We're going to embarrass you. We're going to take away your manhood. This team is supposed to be built to run the football. And when they get in those situations, the first thing they think of is, let's see if we can do the old bark thing, and you come here, and we're going to motion, and we're going to do all this to get you to jump off sides against a good – it's stupid and it's infuriating.
Yeah, it is, and it didn't lead to much there, obviously.
No!